Greetings and salutations. Have you ever had the urge to paint something, an idea, and you just never follow through with it? Because it happens to me a lot, like too many times. And this illustration I've had in my mind for over a year now. And it wasn't until like these last couple of months I've noticed that my boyfriend would always tell me, "Oh, it's packed like sardines," because we commute an hour to see each other on the weekends, and he always comes to my apartment when it's rush hour. So he would always say, "Sardines, sardines, it's packed like sardines," because it's rush hour in New York City. What do you expect? And it made me resketch this idea that I completely forgot I had an idea of over a year ago, and I didn't touch it like for a while. And then I came back to it like last month, in September, late September. We were on a train, we were coming back from H Mart getting groceries, and then like it was horribly packed because the one train was so delayed. And everyone, I was just touching shoulders with everyone, and I was like, I hate this. I do not like this. I do not want to be touching people. Anyways, when I was trying to disassociate from just the thought of sweaty people, because it was kind of hot, was just staring straight into the train, like across the other side of the cart, and I was like, oh my god, I had like an epiphany. I had like oh my god moment, you know? This was the composition that I had been looking for, that I was trying to think of for this idea. And I think that's another reason why I didn't really implement it as much, or like really follow through with the idea yet, because every thumbnail I did was kind of somewhat boring. And I was like, this isn't good enough. This isn't good enough for me. And then so I took a picture at that moment of that composition, and I will put it somewhere on the screen, but just censoring everyone's face because there's a lot of people in it. And I went forth with it. I brought out my sketches. I brought out my gouache, and I started painting on my Arches paper that is, I think, 600 pounds, which is like really, really thick paper that will not warp on you unless you're like really digging at it, but it's very unlikely. And I went at it. I did a wash with, I think, like an orange color, obviously, because I don't like painting with a white background, which you should understand, because it's very harsh on the eyes, and it kind of messes with your painting. Also, having it like a under like wash, I forget what it's called, really makes the other colors, especially complementary colors, pop out. So I really wanted to do that. I did start with the face, which I know I shouldn't have. I should have just done a quick wash with the fishes or the background and whatever, but I didn't want to because I got really eager, because this is the first time I have done a full illustration like this in over 2 years now, since I graduated college. And I think I was just so excited. I was so eager. I was so motivated. So I just went at it. I did start in the beginning, however, with light washes, nothing too crazy. That's why as I paint more of the fishes, it became like less opaque. Therefore, you could see the orange background coming through. But eventually, I will come back. I just wanted to get the base of the painting down. Usually when I do like sketches or like transfer the sketch into a bigger paper, I would go in with a a transfer sheet, blow it up on like my iPad or whatever, and then print it out and then transfer it with a transfer sheet. The last time I did that, I felt like it was too stiff, so I didn't do that and I just freehanded it. I'm not great with drawing in big sizes, so the arm, especially if you can't tell, is somewhat disproportionate to the body, because I was like, wait, his forearm is like really long for whatever reason. I will eventually go back and fix it. In the beginning, I wanted to paint the fish's eyes white, but then I was like, I think I was looking at more photos of fishes and their eyes aren't white, so I went back and ended up painting them yellow. But I think this was a good like base for it because it was already like a dark color underneath. And when I first started painting the fishes, I really didn't know what I was gonna do with the rendering portion of it. The first fish turned out phenomenal, I will say. And then like I think I went to bed after that first or like 2 fishes, and then I completely forgot the next day how I painted that fish. So when I continued on with drawing the rest of them or painting the rest of them, they just didn't hit the same. It was too blended compared to the other fish, which was like just like not really blended, but blended enough to where there's a lot of planes, I guess, that made it seem like it was blended very nicely. So eventually I did go back. I'm saying this like a lot, like eventually I will go back and fix this. It's just not this time of video's problem, right? And yeah, I went back. I know in my initial color sketch on my iPad, it was more, the fishes were more dull and more like a teal, because sardines are kind of tealish. I completely forgot about it. I think I was in a rush to finish this because I had to submit it into a competition that I wanted to do, and I looked at the deadline. I was like, yeah, it's next Wednesday. So I'm like, oh my god, I have a week to finish this painting. So I just went head empty, and they all turned out to be green, which I mean turned out completely fine. And eventually like I ended up not calling this piece sardines like I wanted it to be, because they didn't look like sardines, it just looked like fishes, but cute little green fishes. When I first did the eyes, at least like the first couple of ones, I mixed red and green. I don't like using black because I feel like it's too harsh with the painting, and it also, like, if I were to mix with black and other colors, they would the color would make it more dull. Black would make the colors more dull. But because I don't use black, I'm not getting that really, really dark value within my paintings, and I could tell from the previous paintings that I've done. And I think I just ended up like changing it up on Photoshop. I went to Blix like the next day, I think, and I got like this really deep permanent green, I think, color, and it was like a really dark green, and I was like, oh my god, this is perfect for whatever dark values I need to add. So then when I added the black onto the eyes, I was like, oh, it popped out. It was so stunning. And like I'm always like stingy with my money, to where I was like, I could just mix this at home, like with the 5 colors I already have. I couldn't mix this at home with the 5 colors I already had. If I mixed the permanent green that I had and black, it probably wouldn't have been as rich as this green that I have. Granted, I paid like what, $12 I think for a big, or like a standard tube size, and I honestly, I don't regret it. I really don't regret it, honestly. If you ever have the chance to buy another part of your materials, do it, especially if you know it's gonna make your illustration pop out more. I know being an artist, it's so expensive, the materials, unless you're a digital artist, like it's so expensive, but at the end you won't regret it. And who knows, if you make prints out of it, or you like, you know, sell it, mass produce, whatever, you'll make that money back. You'll make back that $12 you paint or you spent on a paint tube. Like it's fine, everything's fine. I know when I had first initially started this painting, it was a very bright orange. I mean, I'm talking about the shirt, obviously. It was very bright colors, and I think I did want the subject to stand out from the fishes, but I think with just how saturated the fishes already were, I wanted to keep it less saturated, make it more dull, but still contrasting well with the fishes. Now I know green is complementary of red, and I wouldn't say that this is particularly a red color shirt, but more of a red orange, but it still falls along the line, especially since the fishes aren't entirely like all green. They're like a bluish green followed into a more limey green. So I think it all worked out at the very end. Yeah. I think I definitely struggled with the background the most. At this point, I don't think I was looking at the reference too much. I was just like winging it, and I shouldn't have done that. But eventually off the camera, I did go back and fix that. Obviously now you can tell a lot has been rendered since, and that's because I had went over my partner's place, and I wasn't gonna bring like my whole like gear of like camera and stuff, so I just painted without filming. And you'll see eventually in the painting that I already did the background, and it took me a second to really like get into it, to really like it. It's really just about trusting the process, because I really did not trust the process of like my backgrounds. I really am bad at drawing backgrounds, so when I was finally getting somewhere, I was like, oh my god, I was like telling my boyfriend, like, dude, does this not look like fucking awesome? Or like, dude, does this not look awesome? And he's like, oh my god, yeah, like you really like sauce that up like really quickly. I'm like, quickly as in the span of like an hour or two, but nonetheless, I was like, oh my god, I was so excited. Like I was a little bit bummed about how it looked, and I was scared that oh, it's gonna look bad. I'm not gonna be able to submit this into the competition because I'm gonna be wasting my money submitting something awful. And it turned out really great. And then I started incorporating tears into the fishes, because why not? I think a lot of commuters are tired and of working and, you know, commuting on this train. No one who likes commuting on a train full of people. Not me. I want to cry. Most of the time I do cry. I think also a lot in society, especially now, everyone is filled with sadness, even if you don't think that's true. It is. I think everyone is a little depressed inside, some more than others. And a lot of the times you can really see it in people's faces. I'm someone who perceives people a lot. So, yeah. I think this is also to capture that essence of sadness on the train, because goddamn, I am sad too after working long hours. I don't work a 9 to 5, but if I did, I'd be just as sad. I was just as sad just being in that train. Sweaty people. It smelled. I hate New York City in the summer. This is how it all turned out at the end, and I'm really proud of myself for how far I've come. If you want to see more paintings like this, support me, I don't know. Follow my Instagram. I will see you in the next video.